In this video, we're going to discuss Azure OpenAI deployment types. If you jump over and look at our documentation for deployment types, you'll see all the concepts here. We talk about global standard and provisioned and data zone, etc. But I thought it would be useful to go through a few concepts to kind of better understand this. Number one, there's a geography component to it. Where is that LLM being deployed to? There's also a billing component. How do you pay for that? And there's a third one, and this is tied to the way it's built, is capacity. Is it a shared capacity? Is it dedicated capacity? So those are, in my opinion, kind of the three components of a deployment type. So let's jump in there. Geography. Global. This is your large language model could be deployed anywhere in the world, actually anywhere where there's an Azure data center, any country, any region within that country. So that's global. Then we have data zone. If your data residency requirements require you to only have the calls to this LLM in North America or the European Union, then you can do that. And more data zones are being added, but that's data zone. And then finally, there's regional. You can confine your large language model, that deployment, to be a specific region, let's say East US or West US. So that's the geography. That's the first component or characteristic of a deployment type of geography. Next is billing. When you see the word standard, that means it's really pay-as-you-go, or more accurately, it's pay per call. So you don't pay ahead for this. You just pay for the tokens that you use. So that's what the word standard means. Then there's the provisioned managed. Another term that might be used is PTUs. That's a provision throughput unit. That's actually what makes up provisioned managed. The way that's billed is hourly or monthly or yearly. So you don't have to pay up front with hourly. You can test it out for a few hours. But that's at the top rate. So if you want to save money on that, then you do monthly or yearly reservations, provisioned managed. And you do that in blocks. And I have another video that describes that in more detail. Now, let's talk about capacity, because that's tightly correlated to the billing. For standard or pay per call, that is a shared capacity. That is, maybe you'd use this in a pre-production workload where the demands aren't super high for the calls to the LLM. But provisioned managed, that's going to be dedicated capacity. You're going to say up front how much dedicated capacity you want. Let's say you want 25 blocks or 25 PTUs of this provisioned managed. Then you're going to allocate that, and that's all you're going to pay for. If you want 50, if you want 100, you can do that. But that's going to be dedicated. That's going to be more for a production application use case. So as you can see, the capacity is related to the billing. So I thought it'd be useful to jump over to AI Foundry and show how you actually deploy these. And we'll talk about it a little bit more over there. Here we are in AI Foundry, formerly known as AI Studio. So you jump into a project here, and then we're going to go to our models and endpoints, and then we're going to deploy a new model. This is where you can indicate exactly what type of deployment type you want. So let's select a model. We're going to pick GPT-4o. We're going to confirm, and then at this point you're going to get a deployment type right here. This is what we're talking about. And the context of this video is our regular deployment types, not the batch. So let's just go through these. Global standard, right there in the name, it talks about the geography of it. It's global. And then the billing method is standard. So that's really easy to understand right there. Data zone standard, same thing. The geography is really obvious because it's a data zone confined to North America, for example, or European Union, and it's standard. It's pay per call. Then standard, this one's a little more vague to understand, but that is regional. It'd be helpful if we put the word regional in front of that, but think of this as regional standard. That is specific to a region within a geography, let's say East US. Okay, let's skip over batch for right now. Global provisioned managed, back to the top. Now, the geography is obvious, it's global. and it's provisioned managed, or PTUs. So that's dedicated capacity. Same thing for data zone, provisioned managed. You see the geography in the name, which is data zone, which is confined to a specific geography like North America or the EU, and it's provisioned and managed. So that is dedicated capacity that you allocate ahead of time. And then lastly, provisioned managed. That's another one where it would be helpful if that said regional in front of it. That's regional provisioned managed. So it is dedicated capacity, but that's specific to a region. So I hope that helps kind of clarify the different deployment types. Please let me know in the comments. If you have any other questions, I'd be happy to go over those. Like I mentioned, I'll put a link to the other video I made that shows you actually how to create the provisioned managed deployment, and then go, at that point, you're paying by the hour. So you then, after that, go buy a reservation, so you're no longer paying by the hour, and you'll save a lot of money by paying by the month or by the year. So hope that helps. Thanks for watching.